All right. Welcome, everyone, to episode 14 of the Fanatics, a college football betting podcast. We are 2 weeks away from the regular season being over. The season has absolutely flown by, and we got some great games this week. I'm so excited to talk about it. Let's get right to it. My name is Kyle Comas, and joining me, we have the CEO of the Coda Sports Gambling Network, Pace Meyer. And we got the host of the Play Me or Fade Me podcast. We got Mr. Action Junkie. Fellas, week 13 already. How we feeling? How we doing?
We're doing great. Boise State rankings came out here today, Tuesday. Got a first round bye, so I mean, we couldn't be happier. At least me. At least me. We're flying high right now, Kyle.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. Right now, they're projected to get a first round bye, and BYU projected to be the 12th seed. I think that's pretty wild. But
Fraudulent. BYU frauds.
Finally got exposed. Finally got
Yeah,
exposed last week.
yeah. And it
At
ain't
home,
over.
of all
It ain't
things.
over.
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Action, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing a lot better than the Tennessee Volunteers. That was a big win for Georgia. That was one of my highlights last week. But yeah, I'm excited. Just saw the rankings come out. But yeah, a lot of football to be played still. A lot of things are going to change here down the stretch.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, so the new playoff rankings did come out. I want to get your guys' opinion on something. So you guys know our fellow panelist who couldn't be on the show, VFC, big anti-Penn State guy. He actually said Georgia getting Penn State as an 11 seed, pretty good matchup for Georgia, he thinks. Do you guys agree with that, or do you think that Penn State could handle Georgia all right?
Penn State would win by 2 scores, I think. Carson Beck's trash. Like, how can you put money behind Carson Beck? So that's my thought. I mean, that's just VFC. Just he has to say that. He's rode that. He's ridden that all season long. So yeah. I mean, it makes sense for him to say that. But I think Georgia's trash. I think Georgia's going to get exposed too if they make it in this playoffs.
Okay. Action, what do you think?
I, I'm just curious. Pace, did Penn State hire a new coach and I don't know about it? If James Franklin is still the coach there, I got Georgia by 2 scores.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I just don't know how you be like, boom, I go to work 8 to 5, and I'm gonna take this money and put it on Georgia behind Carson Beck. Like I just don't see that. So
Well,
non-believer.
they just beat another top 10 team in Tennessee by 2 scores last week. I know it was at home, but yeah, I have a whole lot more faith in Georgia than I do Penn State.
Beck's got to dump his girlfriend. One of the Cavender twins, and then he'll start flying. Then he's gonna win the Heisman. See,
Somebody
Action might not know that reference. He's too old.
Well, no. I know that reference because all I can say is Paul Skeens has done quite well with whoever his girlfriend is.
All
So
right, there we go.
I don't know if big name girlfriends are that big of a distraction.
You know,
Their motivation.
There we go.
somebody pointed out to me that Carson Beck looks like Sid from Ice Age, and I've just
Yeah,
never been able to get it out of my head ever since.
so true.
If you watch Ice Age, you'll understand that and you'll appreciate that reference. But yeah, otherwise, let's just since we're just talking about it really quick. So if the playoff ended today, BYU would take Ohio State, and I think that'd be a three-score game myself. I think Ohio State would very handily beat BYU.
Yeah, Ohio State would automatically be in the semifinals. They basically would have a double bye.
Oh, because they
Double
play
bye.
Boise State next.
Double
Pace.
bye.
Yeah, it
Action
would be a
hates
double bye.
Action hates Boise so much. I don't know why. He hates him so much.
A good friend of mine lived in Boise. He talked about the Smurf turf all the time. I was a big Boise guy until he moved there, and he was just chirping nonstop.
That's fair. That's fair. I got to get out there. I was born in Idaho, and we had a trip planned in September of 2023 last year. So I'm gonna get by the time, let's see, 2027. I'll put a goal on it. I'm getting out there.
I think Pace. We always talk about like a network outing, getting the network together some way, somehow. How electric would it be having the Coda Cappers in Boise, Idaho, for a 9 o'clock Boise State Mountain West after dark game? I think that would just be electric.
I'll tell you what, that would be electric. I'm getting old, obviously, so I would have to take a couple naps, but that'd be so much fun. That would be a hell of a time.
You'd nap sitting up, of course.
Of course, yes.
Very few will understand that reference, but if you understand it, you'll appreciate it. But anywho, then let's see. We got Alabama would take on Notre Dame. Winner of that would play Oregon. I think that'd be a fun game. I think that would be probably one of the better games of all of them. But I think Bama would pull the upset off. I'm still not quite convinced with Notre Dame. So I think Alabama could beat them.
Yeah, I don't know. We don't. I still don't feel like I have a great read on Notre Dame. I still feel like in the back of my mind, I'm like they lost to Northern Illinois, like that's still hurting them a little bit. But they've quietly kind of flown under the radar here. So I don't know. They got a big test here this week too. We should find out some more stuff about them.
Yeah, absolutely. Action. Any thoughts about the potential Alabama Notre Dame game?
What's funny about what you just said is we call it an upset, but I'm looking at the most recent Sargon ratings. Alabama's the number one team in the country.
Yeah.
On the computer numbers. So that would not be much of an upset for the number one team to be able to win at Notre Dame.
True. Yeah, that's true. And then we talked about it. Georgia would play Penn State. Winner of that would take on Miami. And then the 10-7 matchup, Ole Miss would take Indiana. Winner of that would play Texas. I think Indiana wins, but I think after that, I think Texas wins by a couple scores, regardless of who they play. If that's the case, that's my opinion. I think Ewers just tears up both of those defenses, and I think Dart and Curtis Rourke would be in for quite a whirlwind going up against that Texas defense that's been very solid this year so far.
Yeah, that Texas defense looks real good.
Yeah.
I'm going to save my comments on that game until I actually see Indiana play a top tier team, which we finally get this week in their 11th game of the season. The Hoosiers could be completely fraudulent, or I'm going to be like, oh, wait a second. They're going to be dangerous.
Yep, for sure. But all right, gentlemen. Well, hey, I got a trivia question for you guys. We'll do that and do the ad read. We'll talk a little bit about last week, but then let's just dive in because we got a ton of games to talk about this week. We got a great slate of college football. So, my trivia question for you guys: I'm going to see how well you guys know the group of fives this year. See how good you guys are with that. My trivia question is simple: what quarterback is leading the group of five schools in passing yards? So I'm not counting all the Power Four. Group of five QB. Who is leading the group of five schools in passing yards? So I will give you something to think about that while I do our ad read. The Fanatics College Football Betting Podcast is sponsored by Better Edge. Better Edge is a social betting marketplace that is legal in 48 different states and operates like a marketplace. If you're wondering how that works, let's use the Ohio State-Indiana game being played this weekend. One person on the platform likes Ohio State money line, and they put $10 on that line. Another person on the platform likes Indiana money line, and they put $10 in that line. Boom. You now got an exchange because you were going head-to-head with that person. You're not going head-to-head with like another sports book. That's what makes it legal in 48 different states. It's operating like an exchange, like a stock exchange almost. A lot of sports books you'll see, they have lines that are really juiced on the spreads and totals. I saw a total that was like at a minus 130 for college football. Better Edge, it's minus 100 plus 100. You get such a higher payback for the users. And they also have several different competitions such as Battle Royale, Survivor, Chasers, a lot of things that keep things competitive for the users, makes it a lot of fun. And they also incorporate social media so people can go online, post their pics to their timeline, and their followers can fade them to create an order or ride with them and have their own order made. But we love Better Edge here at the network. Go to the website, www.betteredge.com. Use promo code Kyle, Pace, Play Me. Any of those promo codes, you'll get $20 added to your account. You just put money in, you get money added. So www.betteredge.com. So, gentlemen, my trivia question for you is what group of five quarterback is leading the group of five schools in passing? So we'll see how much you guys know your group of five schools. Any of you guys feel confident at all? Any of you want to go first?
I don't know. Action. Who are you thinking? That's how confident we are.
Hey, group of five quarterbacks. I don't know names. Off the top of my head, I'm thinking it's somebody in the state of Texas, like Texas State or North Texas. Their QBs have to be putting up good numbers because I know they score a lot of points. I'm trying to remember who runs the football more there, but that would be one of my guesses. But I don't know names, unfortunately.
So I'll piggyback off Action. Chandler Morris, North Texas. I bet on him. I think week 3. I was all over his passing props. I was all over North Texas. They were going to take down Texas Tech, and they got shellacked. I think it was like 60-20, something like that. So Chandler Morris, now that Action brought up North Texas, that rings a bell. I know he chucks the rock a lot. I think those first 2 games, he had like over 800 passing yards. So I was like, this guy's going to tear up Texas Tech. Their defense is terrible. And they just get housed. So I'll say Chandler Morris just because that's a name and Action brought up North Texas.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, just for your knowledge, gentlemen, there's two QBs that are group of five QBs that are in the top 10 of all of FBS in passing. One is ninth and one is fourth. The ninth one, Seth Hennigan at Memphis. And the fourth place, or the guy that's in fourth right now, who's passed for 3,328 yards, is Chandler Morris at North Texas.
Hell yeah. Let's go.
Let's go.
Look at that teamwork here by us.
Yep.
There we go. Okay. I know they throw it. He chucks the rock. And there's some guys in the chat I think are big Chandler Morris guys. Where'd he come from again? I can't.
He was at Oklahoma originally.
Oklahoma. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
He was at Oklahoma. He was Spencer Rattler's backup, and then Caleb Williams came in and he turned to a third string and then transferred.
Okay. Interesting.
Yep.
All right.
So Pace gets the goal, I get the assist, right?
That's
I'm one
right.
of the two guys with an assist. All right.
Yes, sir. We both get a point. Let's go.
You both get a point. That's how that works.
Yeah, there we go.
Yep, you both get a point. This is hockey rules. So, all right, gentlemen. Well, hey, before we talk about this week's slate of games, let's just talk quickly about last week. We had a lot of crazy games go on. We had some upsets happen last week. Anything really stand out to you? I'll go first because this is fresh in my mind and I want to think about it. Pace and I were talking about this originally about the Heisman and stuff like that within the Heisman. I tell you what, Travis Hunter's making a case for himself right now. He's playing really good, not only on offense, but on defense as well. He played really, really well against Colorado. The one thing that drives me absolutely nuts, and it's not just him that does it. There's been a lot of players over the years that do it. You got to have a great play when you're gonna do the Heisman pose. He does it every single time. He gets a touchdown or an interception or something like that. If you guys remember back in the day when Desmond Howard did it, he had a hell of a kick return. That's warranting a Heisman pose. But if you're just gonna get like a basic touchdown, you have no right to be doing that. So just for that reason, I'm gonna ride with Pace and I'm gonna take Ashton Jeanty to win the Heisman. Just because that just drives me nuts.
The correct pick. There we go. Here's the thing. Travis Hunter, 9 touchdowns offensively. I know he plays a lot of defense. Colorado's got another guy that has 8 touchdowns. That Wester kid. So I mean, it's not like Travis Hunter is just dominating offensively. I know he has like 20 more receptions than this Wester kid, but both these guys have plenty of touchdowns. Just the fact that he plays defense, I get that. But hey, I think this is only hurting his draft stock. You can't play both ways in the NFL. So he should have just stuck with one, let Ginty win the Heisman, focus on the NFL, and we're done here. So there we go.
Action, you got any response to that at all?
Well, that sounds like a guy that's holding a ticket on a different player, in my opinion. And, he's trying to influence the public here and try to sway his ticket to victory. But hey, Travis Hunter, what he is itself is special. And then, I believe he's been voted player of the month on both sides of the ball in that conference. That's unheard of. So it's one thing to be playing snaps on both sides. I could play snaps on both sides on a 9-man team that had 12 kids, but he's playing it at a high level. So right now, yeah, he's past my Cam Ward. And I think the Boise State kid is probably 3rd, 4th on my list.
Okay. Sounds good. Pace, what about you? Anything stand out to you last week?
Boise State hasn't looked great in the first half, in the last couple weeks. So, I think they got a good game here this week against Wyoming. I think that's, get some things right offensively, in the first half and make this deep run here. So, that worried me a little bit, but, that overall there was some decent games. Texas defensively, I thought that, that was going to be an over type of game, but, I think that just shows the Texas defense and, how dominant they are. And I'm a firm believer in defense wins championships. So, Texas is looking real good right now as well. So, Tennessee, Georgia. I was hoping Tennessee would knock off Georgia, just because I don't like Carson Beck and the Bulldogs. But that didn't happen. I mean, it was a little closer game than probably the score indicates, but yeah, overall a solid week. It was kind of one of those things where you're watching football, you're loving it, but it's like I need next week. I need week 13. I need Indiana, Ohio State. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, that's well said. Action, what about you? Anything really stand out to you last week?
Well, as a fan, one of the greatest moments last week was the fact that I have attended so many Minnesota Wisconsin games over the years and had my heart taken out in the second half. The Gophers had the lead at halftime so many times and lost to the Badgers. So the Badgers blowing the lead in the fourth quarter against Oregon and having the Ducks rally to beat them and just tease Wisconsin for that entire game. That was my highlight as a fan. I felt a little joy watching the Badger fans really suffering down the stretch there.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was a better football game than I expected, though.
yeah, absolutely.
Oh, for sure. For
Yep.
sure. Yeah, I thought Oregon was going to steamroll them, and it just did not happen.
Yeah. Also want to touch on too, because since we're in the Midwest, Action and I are in North Dakota here. A kid out in Stanford there is from Fargo, the kicker. The Emmett, is it Keeney? I probably butchered that last name, but he's had now 2 game-winning field goals. He had one last week against Louisville, so just kind of cool. Hits close to home. Louisville really botched that final series there. I think they had like a personal foul that extended the drive 15 yards for Stanford. And then they had an offsides that it would have been a 57-yarder, turns into a 52-yarder. And then he nails the kick, so or the field goal. So yeah, just kind of a cool moment for us Fargo guys, because on the big stage you don't see those guys make it all the way there.
Especially hitting 52 yarders.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. That was
was fun. Yep. So
You didn't want to go to North Dakota State, huh?
we got a kicker. We got a good kicker. We got a good kicker. So yeah, I mean that just time flies, and just not this. I mean this is just in life in general. But like I remember when he was like making his decision, he's like, boom, okay, I'm going to Stanford. That seemed like 2 years ago. I believe that was like 4 years ago. So just time flies in general. So yeah, didn't want to go to NDSU. That's all right. We got a hell of a kicker too. So
Absolutely. Nope, that's well said. All right, gentlemen. Well, hey, let's dive into week 13. We got like I said before, we got a ton of games that are great games that we get to talk about this week. I'm excited for it. Hopefully, by the time you're watching this, I'll be able to say that Kent State team total under cashed again. Little nervous right now, but I'm still holding on to hope. But we'll see. Yeah, matching getting us through Tuesday, Wednesday. I absolutely love that. People can complain about the quality of matchups that it is. It's football on a Tuesday, Thursday. I will never complain about that.
that is correct.
But anyways, let's get started with the Thursday game. So we got a good Thursday game in the ACC. North Carolina State at Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech favored by 9, over under 52. Man, North Carolina State stinks. Ever since they've lost Grayson McCall, they just have not been the same. I think this is going to be a blowout. I can see Georgia Tech winning by 10. I see Haynes King running, not passing, running all over that defense. I think they win by double digits. I will bet Georgia Tech minus the 9.
Yeah, I think that's a good play. Georgia Tech, I think, is 3-0-1 to the spread at home. So, tough to bet against them on their home field there. So, yeah, I'll take Georgia Tech here, too. And, man, NC State, I know they've had some unfortunate injuries, things like that, but just a unfortunate year for them down at NC State.
Yeah, absolutely. Action, any play on this game at all?
Pass on it for me. I would lean your Georgia Tech direction, but one of the things I try to avoid is the letdown spot. Georgia Tech's last game, they upset Miami, so I just fear a little bit of a hangover there.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yep, that's true. Yeah, North Carolina State, I think a couple of us on this panel actually had them winning the ACC. Yeah, I was one of them too.
Me, yep, 2 of us. Yep.
Yeah.
I loved them. I had a future on them. It's still sitting out there, and yeah, not great.
Yeah, I don't think that's cashing for you.
No, and I got some beef with the sports books about about hey, they ain't winning it. They ain't winning the conference, so just let the bet loose. Let me take the loss, but it's still hanging out there. It's giving me a little hope, but I know that it's not going to hit.
Yeah, that's terrible. We got to do something about that.
Yeah,
with the sports
get on.
book.
Somebody get on that. Yeah,
absolutely. All right, well, let's go to the Friday games. We got 3 games going on Friday. We got Temple going to UTSA minus 16.5, over under 56. Purdue, Michigan State. Michigan State minus 13.5 over under 47.5. UNLV San Jose State, UNLV minus 7.5 over under 62.5. Um, the only game I'm for sure gonna bet, I think, I'm gonna take Michigan State. I'm gonna lay the 13.5. I think they will absolutely. Purdue is horrible. I mean, they might be the worst power four school. So I will absolutely take the points with 13.5, and I think they will stink. But Action, I know you're a big storyline guy, and Temple firing their coach. Do you think they rally here against UTSA? I'm curious on your thoughts.
Um, yeah, I mean, that conference has fired a ton of coaches. My play of the week is actually going to be one of those games coming up, but um, on this particular one, there's that old adage that you get the dead cat bounce after a coach gets fired. That first game after you get a little bit of a lift. Um, in college football, sometimes that might be a little bit different. It depends on what that connection to that coach was, and who's taken over the program, et cetera, et cetera. So I have not researched the Temple situation enough to know how I feel about the vibes coming out of there. So I think that's probably a stay away for me. But yeah, I will circle one of them coming up here, though.
Okay, sounds good. Pace, any thoughts on those Friday games?
Yeah, I like Michigan State as well, but I'm gonna go a little different direction. I'm gonna take Purdue first quarter money line plus 250 for a unit.
Oh.
This is because there's a good chance if Purdue loses game that Ryan Walters, the head coach, he's done. The crowd was booing him last week, so it's like he's his back's against the wall. If they come out and just say F it, we're gonna have a hell of a first quarter, and if we lose by 20, hey, at least we still had a great first quarter. So. A little good plus money there, plus 250, and Michigan State hasn't looked great either. They got some issues too. So give me that first quarter, hungry dogs run faster kind of thing. Backs against the wall bet here.
Okay, I like it. I like it. Yeah, you might have convinced me with that one, Pace. I like it.
But Michigan State, I do think they win this game.
Okay, sounds good. Little parlay action with that, maybe.
Ooh, little parlay. Yeah, okay. Get my pirate hat on. I like that. Okay.
All right, there we go. There we go. Alrighty, sounds good. Let's get into the Saturday games, and if I'm missing a game from a time slot, be sure to call it out. I'm just kind of going with the ones that I think are interesting. Let's start again with the 11 o'clock games. The CW, our dear friend Tom Brenneman calling the game. We love the CW here on this show. UNC going to Boston College. UNC favored by 3 over under 56.5. I know Castellanos left the program and he's transferring out. I still like BC in this spot. I think that, like I've talked about it before, what Bill O'Brien has done to this Boston College team, a team that I thought would be one of the worst in the ACC, is absolutely impressive. And I think that they can take down this UNC team. They're really good against the rush, which is good because UNC's running back is one of the best running backs in the country. But I think they upset him here. I'm willing to take Boston College in the money line, I think.
All right. I'm going to go the other way. So we got a little split on this. I'll take UNC. UNC, 3 straight wins. Boston College kind of struggling here. Losers of 4 of their last 5. And, UNC kind of flips their season a little bit. It looks like the most positive vibes here are late in the year. So I'm going to continue to ride the Tar Heels here late in the year.
Okay, very good. Action, any thoughts on this game?
I think you're both right. I think both offenses are playing good football right now, so that equals points for me. So I'm going to go the over. I like the over in this game quite a bit, actually.
Okay, sounds good. I like that. Let's see. Kind of a really good game in the Big Ten here at 11 o'clock on Peacock. We got Illinois going to Rutgers. Basically a pick 'em, but Illinois is favored by 1 over under 48.5. I might be biased for the fact that I have Rutgers on my team for the college football team draft, so I might be biased here. I think they win. I think they win this game. I like Greg Schiano. I like what he's done with the program thus far. Obviously, 6-4, maybe not where they'd want to be at this point in the year, considering their schedule they had. But I think they can. I think they can beat Illinois and upset them. We've talked about it before. Manangai's an absolute monster, and I think that he's gonna just run all over this team. I'm gonna go with Rutgers. I think Rutgers wins this one.
Shout out Kyle. Would you have Rutgers last week, right? Money line plus
Yep.
170, something like that. So
Yep.
yeah. There we go. This is a no play for me, but I'll ride with Kyle. He knows Rutgers clearly.
Okay. Sounds good. Action. Any thoughts on this game at all?
No play in this game, but I will remind you that the offensive coordinator at Rutgers, the quarterback at Rutgers have never beat Brett Bielema. They were winless at Minnesota when that combo was there. So Brett Bielema has their number. I would be fearful of that play, and I'm staying away.
You know what that means though, Pace.
I do know what
They're
that means.
due.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're due. All right, well, let's go to the game that I'm pretty sure most of us are going to be watching. I believe game day is going to be here. Don't quote me on that, but I believe game day is going to be at this game. We got a top 5 matchup between number 5 in Indiana going to number 2 Ohio State. Ohio State favored by 13, over under 52.5. I'm going to be honest. Ohio State, a lot of people talk about that offense. You know, you got, the Trevion Henderson, Jeremiah Smith, all those guys on offense. They've been winning games because of their defense. Their defense is one of the best in the country. They're only allowing 10 points per game. I think they can hold Indiana close, and I think this is actually a closer game than people expect. I don't really have a thought on the side right now, but I love the under in this game. I think that the under 52.5 is probably the play I'm going to go with.
Yeah, game day is going to be there. So that is
Okay.
that is confirmed. Game day is going to be there. Um, I don't know. I go back and forth, back and forth. I don't believe in Indiana. But again, I think it'd be sick if they go in here and win this ball game. So I'm just going to take a flyer. I'm going to take Indiana money line first quarter plus 225. That's what I'm going to do. Don't have to worry about the whole game. My bet will lose or win in the first quarter, and hopefully it's a W. And hopefully they come up with some juice and surprise Ohio State here. So I could see this being a close game. I also could see Ohio State winning by 21 plus. So I'm all over the board on this one.
Okay, very good. Action, any thoughts on this game?
Kyle, I did hear your trivia question last night with Ohio State giving up the fewest number of points. So I believe in that angle, and I'm going to make Indiana prove it to me. I think Ohio State is legit, of course. So I'll lay the points here. I know it's a big number, but I think the glass slipper comes off of IU and they get exposed. And then we have a whole lot of controversy when it comes to where they're seated from that point on.
Yep, that we will. And I did read today that the Big Ten did officially say that Oregon is in the Big Ten championship.
I have a question, okay? Yeah. And I realize there's a lot of smart people at the Big Ten, but do we need to hire some Ivy Leaguers when there's only so many teams that could have mathematically had a chance at it? How did it take them 3 days to calculate that Oregon was officially in?
Yeah.
I don't understand. I mean, can't you just put an AI and it should give me the answer? I don't understand. It took us 3 business days to declare that Oregon's the Big Ten title. It can't be that complex.
No, you're absolutely right. But you would think that conference has more money than any of us could ever dream of. So you would think that they have the technology to figure it out.
Yeah, I put it in ChatGTP in it or whatever it's called, and I could probably get the answer.
Yeah. Yeah. So where I was going with that was I believe that the winner of this game should secure the other spot. I believe. If only we knew a thing about Big Ten tiebreakers to let me know, but I for now that's just kind of what I'm thinking. I think whoever wins this game is going to face Oregon in the Big Ten championship. So yeah, like I said, a lot on the line for this game, and it's going to be a fun one to watch at 11 o'clock in the morning. So I hope you all stay tuned for that. Let's see. Okay, we got a good SEC game here at 11 o'clock on ABC. We got Ole Miss going to Florida. Ole Miss favored by 10, over under 55.5. Florida's been playing better than I thought. You know, they've had so many injuries this year, and they had, even before the season started, everyone knew they had the toughest schedule. And for them to be sitting at 5-5, I think is just a remarkable testament to Billy Napier, even though he's a scumbag. That's another story for another time. I'm kidding, Action. I knew you'd kind of get riled up about that. But
I love Sunbelt Billy, and let me tell you this. If he was the head coach at LSU, LSU would be in that poll right now for the playoffs.
Yep, there we go. I knew it would get him riled up, so I was glad I said that. But I'll take the points. I'll take Florida plus the 10. I think they can cover that at home.
Yep, I'm right there with you, DJ Legway. Little banged up, of course, last week. He did it with his arm, and they still look pretty good. So I believe in this kid, and seems to have this team rolling in the right direction here late. And I think they can keep this with the number two. I might sprinkle money line. What the hell? Let's do it. Late in the season, more chaos. Might sprinkle money line on Florida, but I do think they at least cover this number.
Okay, I like it.
And no play here for me. I'd like it to get a little bit higher before I touch it. But I would not be betting Ole Miss. I'd be on the Florida side. I just want to get off the 10 number and get me a little bit higher.
Okay, very good. Okay, let's transition now. We got a couple noon games. Really interesting one here in Conference USA. I'm sure none of you are going to watch it, but it is a really interesting game. Western Kentucky going to Liberty. Right, that's 12 o'clock on ESPN Plus. Liberty favored by 1.5, over under 57.5. If Western Kentucky wins this game, they will go to the Conference USA Championship to take on Jacksonville State. And Liberty, people don't realize this. Liberty almost lost to UMass last week. Just, I don't know what happened to this Liberty team. Many people thought they'd be undefeated. Many people thought they might have a chance for the playoff. This is not the Liberty team that people were expecting. And Western Kentucky is playing a lot better than people thought they would at the beginning of the season. Their quarterback's been playing really well. I think they win on the road here. I'm going to take Western Kentucky. I'm going to take them on the spread, and I'm going to take them money line.
Yeah, all right there with you, Kyle. Last year, Liberty won 42-29, so Western Kentucky out for a little bit of blood. Western Kentucky against the spread on the road, 3-2, not bad. Overall, Liberty 2-7 against the number this season, so not good at all. I think Western Kentucky, like I said, out for blood, gets a little revenge from last year and wins this ball game on the road.
Okay, Action, any thoughts on this game?
I don't want to touch it. Liberty has just been a thorn in my side this year. They've disappointed time and time again. I'll start with that Kennesaw State debacle where they lost as a 27-point favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they underachieved all year even before that. Like Pace said, they haven't covered anything all year, basically. Yeah, I'm not touching it, but I would be on your side if I had to bet it.
Okay, sounds good. We don't have to talk about much about this game, but I am curious. Is Florida State going to cover the 33.5 against Charleston Southern?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Quick and easy answer from Pay. Action, what do you think?
Oh, I don't know. Yes.
Yes. Let's go.
Okay, I'll just to avoid a group send, I'll say no.
Ah.
I'll say no, just to avoid the group send.
All right, now Action I can win. That's fine.
Yep, that's how it's kind of been going for me. Let's continue down here and let's go to the 2 o'clock games because
one game too.
I'm
on. I like Tennessee minus 41 against UTEP.
41. Oh my gosh.
41.
Woo. Okay.
Yep. They ain't calling off the dogs in this one. They're upset, obviously, against last week against Georgia losing that game. And UTEP, they beat Kennesaw State. Cool by 10. Good for you. This ain't Kennesaw State. Tennessee big in this one.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay, so big 2:30 game for a lot of people in the group chat for the Coda Sports Gambling Network. Wisconsin going to Lincoln to take on Nebraska at 2:30 on the Big Ten Network. Wisconsin or Nebraska, minus 2.5, over on 42.5. The winner of this game will be bowl eligible. So they are both 5-5 right now. Both of them playing for bowl eligibility. The problem is I don't think I'm going to bet this game because my heart is really rooting for Wisconsin because I would love for Nebraska to go to Iowa City and have to win that to make a bowl game, especially with me being there. So I have too much heart in this game for a spread. So I'll just bet the under. I think it'll be not a lot of points. I'll take the under 42.5.
All right. Action, what year were you born?
The Pride of 1976.
Okay, so since all three of us have been born, Nebraska has beat Wisconsin one time in 2012. Shout out Corey. All right. So Kyle, Nebraska is what? Nebraska is They're due. They're
Two?
due.
They're
They're
due.
due.
They're due.
Nebraska's winning this ball game.
Okay. Sounds good. Nebraska's due, Pace says.
Yep.
Action, any thoughts on this game?
Well, I saw a very interesting comment from Luke Fickell this week after he fired his offensive coordinator. He said it really doesn't matter who the offensive coordinator is. They don't really matter as much as people think. I just thought that was a stunning comment, but very interesting to me. But I actually want Wisconsin to win this football game, maybe for Kyle's sake, but I don't want Wisconsin to need to beat Minnesota in the final game for bowl eligibility. So selfishly, I'll be cheering for the Badgers in this game just to avoid that conflict. But no play, I maybe should go when in doubt, go the under with you. But no, I don't trust either one of these teams. They frustrated me all year. I was so high in Nebraska after the win against Colorado, and it cost me money for about the next 6 weeks.
All right. Sounds good. Let's go to a 2:30 game being played on Fox. Great Big 12 matchup. We got Colorado going to Lawrence to take on Kansas. Colorado favored by 2.5, over under 59.5. We've talked about in the show before. Colorado controls their own destiny right now. All they got to do is win, and they're in the Big 12 championship. But Kansas has been sneaky as of late. They beat Iowa State, and they've been surprising people at home. But I think that ends this week. I'm taking Colorado minus the 2.5.
Oh, I want to join you, Kyle, but I'm on Kansas. I'm going to take Kansas here. They're playing some good football here as of late, and now you got to go on the road. Colorado, go on the road. So, what's Colorado got? Let's see what they got here. I think Kansas can get the W here at home.
Okay, very good. Action, what about you?
I won't touch this game. No, thank you. I'll pass.
I think you're out of passes, actually. Come on now.
I haven't used them up yet.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good. Let's see. Probably a game that not many will care about, but I do want to talk about it because these are two good teams in the American, both of them fighting for a good bowl right now. East Carolina is going to North Texas. Spread is North Texas -3, over under 73.5. Well, right there, you already know what I'm going with. Give me the over right off the bat. I mean, that's just principle right there, folks. When you see a total in the 70s, you bet the over. But even before I saw that, I like North Texas in this game. We talked about Chandler Morris, how great he's been playing so far this year. He has been particularly good at home. So I think it happens here. They get to bowl eligibility. So I will take the over out of principle, but I will be betting North Texas minus the 3.
Yeah, the trends point towards the over here, Kyle. ECU, they're 6-4 to the over this year. North Texas 8-2 to the over. ECU on the road 4-1 to the over, and North Texas has a favorite. They're 3-1 to the over. So it seems like a lot of points, but these teams can put up a lot of points. So I'll ride the over with you too. B. Russ would be happy with us.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Action, any plays on this one?
No, I'll stay clear of that one.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good.
I don't know if you're going to touch on this, Kyle, but I'm also on over 63.5 in Central Florida and West Virginia. Again, two other good over teams, so I'm going to be on the over, 63.5.
You know what? I'll join you. I'll join you, Pace. I'll join you.
There we go. All right,
Yep,
here we go.
I love it. Yep,
all about the overs.
Yep, I love that. I love that over. So I'm with you there. Actually, a really good game. I've said that about a lot of these games. We got a lot of really good games this week, but a really good game in the Big 12. We got BYU going to Arizona State. Arizona State, a team that was picked last in the Big 12 conference, but the winner of this game, I believe, has pretty much full reins to get to the Big 12 championship. So really big game here. Arizona State -3, over under 48.5. And we talked about BYU earlier. Are they legit or are they not? They're kind of on a downhill spiral, whereas Arizona State, who people thought would be horrible, they're surprising some people. I'm going to keep riding that Cinderella train. I think BYU's time is up, and I think that Arizona State's going to prove that to them. I'm going to take Arizona State -3.
I'm on there with you as well, Kyle. Cam Scatterboo between the trenches there. He's going to have a good game rushing the football. So I think that's the difference here, that running back. He's a hell of a running back. Hope the Vikes get him. We'll see in the NFL draft, but I think they ride him to a victory here.
Okay, very good. Action, any play on this one?
You're going to hate me. I got to pass on this one in part because Is there an element where BYU actually plays a whole lot more relaxed this week after they finally lost a game? Yes, they're hanging on by a thread in the playoff rankings, but I almost wonder the undefeated season if that might loosen them up a little bit and they don't play as tight because the turnovers and the mistakes of BYU have been very apparent. They've survived, up until last week, but I kind of think we're going to get a good version of BYU. I maybe would lean towards the over in this game, but no play.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I don't mind that over either. Let's see. The last 2:30 game I'm sure Action's going to be watching on CBS. We got Penn State going to Minnesota. Penn State favored by 11 and a half, over under 45 and a half. I've been saying this a lot, and this is kind of sickening considering how much I like overs. I like the under in this game. I think that Penn State actually is going to play Minnesota pretty close here. I don't mind Minnesota on the spread, but I don't like it enough to bet it. But I do think it's low scoring. I think Penn State's defense has been very solid this year, and yeah, we'll see what happens. But I think I'm going to take the under in this game.
Solid play, Kyle. I'm staying away. I'm staying from this action. Floor is yours. Take it away.
And I'm not a homer. I've bet against the Gophers a ton this year, but coming off the bye, I like Minnesota a lot this week. A lot in reference to the fact that I believe there's going to be a drive in the final 4 minutes that's going to decide this game. I think the money line could be live on this one as it was back in 2018, 2019 when Penn State came in ranked in the top 5 and Minnesota beat them. I just think Minnesota is in a very good spot coming off the bye week, and I think Penn State's vulnerable because once again, I'm with VFC here. I'm not a big Nittany Lion fan this year, so I think Minnesota definitely plus the points this week.
Okay, sounds good. Alrighty, let's go to the 3 o'clock slate of games. Good one in the ACC. We got Pitt going to Louisville at 3 o'clock on ESPN2. Louisville favored by 8 in an over/under 57. But Pace, you talked about it. Louisville absolutely blew that game last week. They've had a week to sit on that, chew on that, and realize what happened. And Pitt started out the season really, really strong. They've kind of been on a downhill spiral as of late, and I think that continues here, especially going to Louisville. I think they can win by double digits. I'm going to take Louisville -8.
Yeah, I think that's a strong play. Louisville hasn't been at home in over a month. I think October 19th was the last time they played at home. 3 straight road games. I think they get back here. Pittsburgh's kind of downward spiral. Yeah, like Kyle said, you sit on that, you learn from it, you move on, you correct those mistakes, and you come out here and you win by 2 scores. So I'll take Louisville too.
Okay. Action, any play on this one?
If I had to lean, I'd lean towards Louisville. I'm still not sure how Pittsburgh kept it within 4 points against Clemson because I watched Pittsburgh down at the goal line. I think they had first and goal at the 2. They self-destructed, 2 timeouts, 4 penalties. I mean, it was some of the worst football I'd ever seen. I was scratching my head. It's like, how do these guys beat anybody? Because they just could not function. So I think Louisville has a very good potential to win by multi-scores.
Okay. Sounds good. We don't have to talk much about this game, but Troy and Louisiana Lafayette. Lafayette favored by 10.5, over under 53.5. I think Lafayette could win by 3 scores. I really, really do. I think that total is super, super low. The books, as we all know, they don't focus on group of 5 games nearly as much. So this could very well be my lock of the week. I'm still deciding on a couple, but I really like Lafayette minus the 10.5.
Yeah, Troy, what back-to-back wins here? I read this morning that they took a trip to. There's a gas station down south. It's called Buc-ee's, I think. We don't have them up here, but they took a trip to Buc-ee's, and the coach got the tab. They got everything they wanted, and the coach picked up the tab, and that's kind of what they've been riding on this 2-game winning streak. Excuse me, Louisiana Lafayette. I think they're still one of the best Group of 5 teams out there. So this is maybe one of the things where they're coming off a loss. Troy's 2 wins in a row here. Are the books kind of shorten the number here? So I'll take Louisiana Lafayette at home.
Okay. Action. Do you have a thought on this game at all?
No opinion on that one.
Okay, sounds good. All right, well, let's shift into nighttime now. 6 o'clock on CBS Sports Network. Boise State going to Wyoming. Laramie, I believe, is where the Cowboys play. Boise State favored by 22 and a half, over under 57 and a half. You talked about it earlier though, Pace. Like I used to be big on the Boise State first halves and their spread. They've kind of not been great in the first half as of late. So I'm gonna stay away from that. But I think Boise State could score 40 plus in this one. Just kind of get some momentum going before they go to Oregon State. So all Wyoming has to do is score one or two touchdowns. I think they can do that. Give me the over 57 and a half in this one.
All right, I like that. Yeah, like we said earlier in the show, Boise hasn't looked great in the first half, but let me tell you something. Wyoming, the Cowboys, they can't score. They can't score the football, especially in the first half. They're in the bottom, 30 in first quarter scoring and first half scoring. They don't score a ton of points in the first half. So if Boise State, you face some adversity, you got over the hump. This is a game you got to get right in the first half. So I think they come out guns blazing, minus 13 and a half, and 14 rip. I'll take that. That's a win. That's a win in their book.
Yeah, absolutely. Action, Mr. Boise State hater. Any thoughts on this game?
If Craig Bohl was still coaching at Wyoming, I'd be on the Cowboys and the Pokes in this one. But unfortunately, my former Gopher defensive coordinator, Jay Swarvel, is not having a great year this year in Wyoming. So I'm going to stay clear of this one. I would probably lean towards Boise in the points, even though it's a huge number on the road.
Okay. Sounds
but
good.
This time of year, I got to start looking at the weather forecast a little more too, because those snowstorms could come in.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. Boise, I guess, is used to the snow too. But
Laramie gets some snow. Oh yeah, they get some snow there. So
I was gonna say they both get snow. So I was gonna say is Boise built for it, but they are because they get snow too.
Oh yeah.
Looking at the weather, just for the record, the snow is not scheduled to arrive there until Sunday. So Saturday should be okay as of today, but we know the weatherman is only right 50% of the time as well.
Right. Yep. Let's go to a really, really good game here on NBC at 6 o'clock. We got Army going to Notre Dame. This has playoff implications written all over it in this one. 6 o'clock on NBC, Notre Dame favored by 14 and a half, over under 44 and a half. When Pace and I did a solo show, just the two of us, this is kind of when we started this new trend of the show of just talking a bunch of games. Him and I both said Navy could very well beat Notre Dame and definitely keep it close. We were way wrong on that. I am not making that same mistake again. I think Army is better than Navy, but I simply will not make that mistake again. This is a principal pick for me, a get right pick for me. I'm going to take Notre Dame minus the 14 and a half. I think Army is good. I think they're better than Navy, but out of principle, I just got to take Notre Dame after what they did to Navy.
Yeah, Army looks good because they've played nobody. Their strength of schedule 133rd in the nation. Give me Notre Dame. They're going to take care of business on the ground. This is an easy win for Notre Dame, in my opinion.
Okay. Action, what about you?
I will not be betting Army, but at 14 and a half, I would not be touching this game. This needs to be under 14 for me to play, so it's a no play.
Okay. Sounds good. We got a Pac-12 game, boys. First Pac-12 game of the year. How about that? Washington State going to Corvallis to take on Oregon State. Washington State favored by 12 and a half, over under 56 and a half. And I tell you what, I was wrong about Washington State. I thought that they would struggle this year against some pretty talented Mountain West teams. They surprised me. Oregon State has not. I thought Oregon State would be about in the position they're in, and I just don't think, even at home, that they can beat this Washington State team. 12 and a half is a lot of points, but I think Washington State can win by 2 touchdowns here. I'm going to take Washington State minus the 12 and a half.
All right, I'm on the other side of Kyle, finally, on this show. So I'm going to take Oregon State here plus 12 and a half. Washington State, obviously lose last week. They didn't make any adjustments in the second half. They barely beat San Diego State, didn't make any adjustments in the second half. They barely beat Fresno, didn't make any adjustments in the second half. Their playoff hopes are dead. So what kind of team is going to come out for Washington State here? I think Oregon State I like the spread and could be live on the money line too.
Okay. Sounds good. Action, any play for you on this one?
Staying away. I'm going to pass.
Okay, sounds good. Uh, let's see. 6:30 on ESPN. We got Texas A&M going to Auburn to take on the Tigers. Texas A&M only a 2.5 point favorite in this one, with an over/under 46.5. And I believe if A&M loses this game, we will have 6 SEC schools with 2 losses. Just for that alone, give me Auburn in this game. Just for that alone, just for the craziness, give me Auburn.
I like it. I like it. I'm taking a page out of Actions book. No bet.
Okay, sounds good. Action, are you got a bet for this one or no?
The money looks too easy on Texas A&M, so I'm staying away.
Okay, sounds good. 6:30 on Fox. Iowa State going to Utah at line right now. Iowa State -7.5, over under 42.5. Iowa State's been on a downhill spiral. They've lost their last two games after winning their previous ones. And I think they beat Utah, but I think that's too many points. I personally like Utah plus the 7.5 here. I don't mind the under in this game either, just because Utah's defense has been pretty solid. Outside of last week, we don't count last week, but I think it's too many points. I'd take Utah plus the 7.5 myself.
Yeah, depending on where I'm at in my betting day, if I'm licking some wounds and I'm looking for some late night action, I actually like Iowa State. I think Utah just flat out given up. It's over, and I think Iowa State, they're still playing for a little something. So give me Iowa State on the road.
Okay, sounds good. Action, any play on this one?
I actually like Utah in this game, so I do have a play. I think Utah has played with a lot of heart the last couple of weeks. They lost to BYU in that heartbreaker by 1. And then, yes, I know the final score looked, 49-24 last week against Colorado, but I thought they had a fighter shot in that game, especially to cover. I thought they were going to cover for sure. So they've shown me more on offense here of late than I expected. And, 6 straight losses for the Utes. Oh, boy. Final home game of the season, I think they show a little bit of pride. They at least keep this one close. I agree with you, Kyle. I think Iowa State wins the football game, but they keep it within 7.5.
Okay, sounds good. I love it. Let's see. 6:30 on ABC. Alabama going to Norman to take on Oklahoma. On ABC, line right now, Alabama -13.5, over under 47.5. You two both know it. I do not bet on Iowa. I do not bet on Oklahoma games. So I'm going to take a page out of Action's book, and I'm going to do a no play for this one. But I did want to talk about it. So
yeah, give me Bama. Give me Bama. Bama looks good. Bama's hot. I'm big on Bama with a future in the SEC title game. So I'm continuing to ride Bama.
okay, Action, any play on this one?
I will pass.
Okay, sounds good. We're passing together. Let's see, 6:45.
Real quick, Kyle.
Yeah.
Quick. Go back 2 games. I made this bet once earlier this year. A 3 straight scores by either team in Iowa State, Utah. You can get no at plus 183. And if you guys like Utah there, I think that's kind of a fun prop to take.
You said 3 straight scoreless drives?
No, 3 straight scores by either team will not happen. Plus 183.
Oh,
This will be a back and forth game,
Yep.
is what I would expect. So that's good value there. That's a diamond in the rough play.
I was gonna say, yeah, that I've never bet that, but I might for that game. That's interesting.
Yeah, kind of fun.
We're learning all kinds of new stuff. You should host an educational betting podcast.
Oh my gosh. What a transition.
And if only you knew a guy who ran an already successful podcast that could give you a platform at least once a week.
I mean, the stars are lining up. What the heck?
I think so. Action, what do you think?
I agree. I was taking notes on a couple I listened to last night.
All right, very good. All right, 6:45 in the SEC network. Vanderbilt going to LSU. LSU -7.5, over under 53.5. I'm a man of principle. You guys know I'm a man of principle when it comes to the Kent State team total unders and any other plays that are tried and true. You just simply don't bet against Diego Pisson Pavia. You just do not. I know Death Valley, very, very tough place to play. But I think they keep it close. I think it could be a field goal game, could go back and forth, maybe a game-winning drive to win by 3 or 4. I'm gonna take Vanderbilt plus the points.
Yeah, for me, this is probably no bet for me. Isn't I think Diego's a little banged up too. So how healthy is he going to be in this game? LSU, it's like they need this game. They need this game, man. So yeah, it all kind of comes down to the health of Diego. So no bet for me.
Okay. And action, any play on this one?
I'm going to be cheering like heck for Vandy, but I'm staying away from this game.
Okay, sounds good. And then I just had one more game I wanted to talk about. If you guys have any more after this, we can certainly talk about it. But we got a prime time Big Ten game on NBC. I don't think I ever would say those words in my life, but we got a prime time Big Ten game on NBC. The battle of the two Big Ten teams in California. USC going to the Rose Bowl to take on UCLA. USC favored by 4.5, over under 51.5. UCLA had their Super Bowl already this year. They beat Nebraska. They beat Iowa. I think they're going to get humbled up here a little bit against Lincoln Riley. I know action is big. Fade Lincoln Riley just because of how Lincoln Riley's done, but I think he's due for one. I think they can at least make a bowl here, and I think the hot UCLA team cools off here in this game. I'm going to take USC minus the 4.5.
Yeah, I like that play too. UCLA, a stat I got down 129th in defensive finishing drives. So they can't stop drives. And I think that's, plays in a nice matchup there for USC. I'll take USC.
Okay. And action, any play on this one?
I'll touch USC here, but I do think Lincoln Riley's sending resumes to everyone. So keep an eye on your inbox. He may be trying to get on this show next.
That'd be sick.
And we will welcome him with open arms.
Yes.
We will welcome him with open arms if he wants to come on this show. Gentlemen, any other games that we did not talk about that you wanted to mention?
I kind of like Colorado State on the road against Fresno. Colorado State 5 in a row. They look all right. Fresno 2 losses in a row here. So yeah, I don't know. At plus money, I'll take Colorado State there.
Okay. Yeah, I think we talked about the games I wanted to talk about. Action, any games that we did not talk about that you like?
No, I'll save mine.
Okay, very good. Oh, gross. The Air Force Nevada 9:30 on FS1. That's an absolute no thanks for me.
Come on.
Just,
You'll beat bet Nat. You'll know.
I might have to chase. We'll see. All right, gentlemen. Well, let's round out the show with upset of the week and lock of the week. Let's start with upset of the week. Upset of the week, how that works is each of us will pick an underdog of at least 7 points, and they have to win outright for you to get a win. So let's go through our upsets of the week, and I'll start, and I'll just gonna be quick with it. Diego Pisson Pavia, Vanderbilt over LSU.
All right.
And that's where I'm gonna go. What about you, Pace?
Yeah, I'll take Oregon State at home against Washington State. Just not a ton to play for here, and I just haven't liked the way Washington State's played in the second half of some of these ball games here late. So I'm gonna take Oregon State on this one.
Okay, sounds good. And action. What about you?
I'm going to go San Jose State over UNLV.
Ooh, okay. Okay. Interesting. Okay, sounds good. Well, those are our upsets of the week. We'll round up the show with lock of the week. Lock of the week, very, very simple. The lock hits, you get a win. If it doesn't, get a loss. It's as easy as that. I'll start. I mentioned it before, but North Texas is playing with a lot of pride right now. Chandler Morris, as we talked about, has been playing really, really well so far this year, been passing the ball a lot. East Carolina, not very good at defending the pass, and they're playing for a bowl game, and I think that they can win this game by a touchdown at least. Give me North Texas -3 as my lock of the week. And that's where I'm going to go. Pace, what about you? Your lock of the week?
Yeah, Western Kentucky on the road +2.5. I don't believe in Liberty. I just don't see it. So I think revenge spot here for Western Kentucky from last year, and I'm a firm believer in that. So give me them +2.5.
Okay, sounds good. And action, your lock of the week.
And we're all avoiding Power 5 schools. I love it. So I'm going to have the battle of two teams that fired their coaches this week. I'm going to go Charlotte over Florida Atlantic -3. Sentimental pick for me, because the interim coach at Charlotte is none other than Tim Brewster, the former head coach of the Minnesota Golden Gophers. My chili's hot, Timmy. Let's get her done. I think Nobody can rally the troops with more excitement and enthusiasm than Tim Brewster. They actually gave their former head coach, Biff, the guy who wore no shirts or no sleeves at Charlotte, they had him walk onto the practice field today. They gave him the standing ovation. They were all fired up. They were huddling with him. Brewster's got him fired up this week. Florida Atlantic, not only did they fire Tom Herman in two years, by the way, and what a fall for Tom Herman. I mean, he won 13 games at Houston in 2 years. Had a run at Texas where people weren't even sure if he should have been fired yet because he was winning 9-10 games a year there, and he only gets less than 2 years at Florida Atlantic. That to me was crazy. The guy's 60-36 as head football coach, but he's out there. They had fired their defensive coordinator a week ago. They rehired him now. Crazy things at Florida Atlantic. So give me Charlotte, give me the 49ers and Timmy Brewster.
I'll tell you, you convinced me.
Let's ride, squad ride. Let's go.
Yep.
Yeah, let's get her done.
Yep, we'll group send that. You convinced me. But hey, gents, that was a lot of fun. We talked about earlier, really great slate of college football this weekend. I'm excited. You bet I'm going to be sitting on the couch at 9:30 in the morning watching game day, and I'm probably not going to leave that couch till 11, 12 o'clock at night. I mean, I'm just going to be dialed into college football this week. We just got so many great games. But yeah, gentlemen, that was a lot of fun. We'll see you both next week. We got rivalry week next week. That's going to be a lot of fun to talk about that. We got rivalry week. So yeah, a lot of great stuff coming up in this podcast. We should have VFC next week. I believe PG is also going to make an appearance. We're going to have a great crew for rivalry week. I absolutely love that.
I do want to say one thing. VFC not coming on for Ohio State's biggest game of the year. Pretty fraudulent move there by VFC. So that's all I'll say there.
Okay. Sounds good. We'll end it at that. That's going to do it for this episode of the Fanatics, and we will see you next week for rivalry week.
All right. Peace, guys.
See ya.